And now let's get into this mess. So you already know the whole tea regarding about Paramount Skydance is trying to buy Warner Brothers Discovery, according to reports. And I remember, shout out to John Campea because he did say this. There's been mixed reviews. Some people believe that it's all, fake, that it's not going to necessarily happen. And then John Campea mentioned on his show the other day that somebody who works at Warner Brothers pretty much hit him up and said that the Ellisons are hell bent on getting a satanic hooves. That ain't his words. The satanic hooves part is mine. Um, they trying to get their satanic hooves on HBO and Warner Brothers Discovery to be specific. And he went on this whole spiel on his show about how, oh, they're just doing it because AT&T once upon a time had access. Well, they pretty much put in their bid and they bought Warner Brothers Discovery, and they pretty much damn near bankrupted the damn studio. Like, they didn't know what the hell they were doing. I guess they had certain intentions to go in and do whatever, and it didn't work out the way they wanted it to. So now Warner Brothers, if they go and have to be bought by this company who, the Ellisons have billions, hundreds of billions, not tens of billions, hundreds of billions. They're worth a lot of money. If they get their hands on it, that basically they'll help fix up whatever. That's cute at all that you want to get all business like and think of that it's all like trying to help the company, whatever. I see through that bullshit. First of all, I'm saying it for what it is. You want to monopolize uh media. You want to monopolize studios. And it's like, why is one person going to be owning multiple studios? Isn't there rules against that? And maybe you need to focus on trying to get Paramount where you need it to be, which is probably why Taylor Sheridan's leaving. And I got that story after this one. Um, Maybe you need to focus on trying to get Paramount to be where it is or where you want it to be before you start to move on immediately, because you just got Paramount in August. We're 2 months in from you having Paramount. Why are you trying to buy Warner Brothers? So it just feels suspicious to me. Excuse me. It just feels suspicious to me that, oh, the ink ain't even finished drying over there at, Paramount. And here you now trying to put in a bid for Warner Brothers. It just feels a little suspicious. And it feels like political ties is to it. And everything with this administration, and I know people hate, why you always got to bring up politics? Why you got to bring, because the Trump administration has spent the past decade politicizing everything. Everything that comes out of their mouth has political stains all over it. You could just talk about, I just went to the bathroom and wiped my ass with some Scott tissue. They will find a way to make that shit political. We cannot sit up here and deny that every single they have found a way to use politics as a marketing tool to try to do whatever the things that they need to do behind the scenes so that way they can monopolize and control how we get everything. And if they get their hands on Warner Brothers, how they got their hands on Paramount, which Paramount owns CBS, which is considered, for the most part, a liberal news station where they deliver liberal news. Because there was a story that came out that Trump pardoned, what was it, the Bitcoin CEO or something or another, and everybody talked about it except CBS. So CBS is under Skydance. Bari Weiss, who I've already windmilled on many a times on this show when I bring her up, uh, she's running things over there. So when it comes to certain narratives regarding the Trump administration, they're not going to cover it because of who they have in place. So that way they could control the narrative of how you receive your news, media, and information. But that ain't what I'm worried about, because I don't get my news from legacy corporate media. I don't get my information from the major networks. Quiet as it's kept, most people are not. Maybe the old dinosaurs, no shade to the boomers, because my parents are boomers. But, in the old guard of ways, my parents are the ones who get their information from The View and um Channel 7 Eyewitness, even though they ain't got nothing to do, Disney, whatever, is not in the pocket of trying to get their hands on Paramount. I mean, not Paramount, on Warner Brothers Discovery. They're trying to crawl themselves out of their own debt over there at Disney and all the other mess they got over there. And especially with what is it, 20th Century? They're busy trying to work out whatever they trying to, gain some cointada or whatever with that. So they're not even trying to put their hat in the ring, as far as we know, because we haven't heard anything regarding of that. But let me put this picture up because there's a method to my madness in regard to this whole Lex Luthor, because that's what Trump trying to act like, except he ain't as smart as Lex Luthor is. Anyway, so hopefully that's all I wanted to kind of put all that stuff out there. So yes, it just reeks of a lot of, oh, so now you're trying to monopolize studios so that way you get to control the narrative of what comes out. Because who owns Warner Brothers Discovery? We don't even know because they keep saying that, oh, they're going to split it and all this other stuff. So will they get there? Are they trying to sell off the movie catalog? Y'all gotta have Harry Potter and that turf bitches, stuff. JK, whatever. But all the other IPs and then my other grievances is that, okay, if they buy Warner Brothers, like, are we still going to be able to get movies like Sinners and those other stuff that comes out over there? Because they, Ryan Coogler did go to other studios to try to get Sinners made. A lot of studios passed. Warner Brothers, Pam Abdi and Mike DeLuca was smart enough and nice enough to be like, you know what? Let's take a chance on this movie. They took a chance, and the movie was a big hit. It's about to be released it, I think, on Friday, if not already. I don't know. I have to check. But yeah, Sin is about to be released in the theaters again. It'll go, of course, just in time for Halloween, but also I think because Oscar season is about to start. So to get the conversation back up and running and people start to remember, oh yeah, Sinners came out. Let's kind of consider it for Oscar, whatever, whatever, whatever. Smart enough to re-release it in theaters again, even though you can pretty much turn on HBO Max and watch it there. But let's get into the story. So shout out to Comic Book Movie, because I remember it's funny how I was talking about this quite a few times last week, and now articles being done on it. So I'm glad I'm not the only one that's been thinking outside of the whole business aspect that a lot of people want to play it safe and talk about. Oh, let's just talk about it from a business standpoint. Fuck that. It's got way more. There's way more layers to this than just, oh, AT&T went and purchased it and damn near destroyed the studio, and now they're trying to get themselves out of whatever debts that they may have with it. Even though Warner Brothers, to be fair, has had a great year in regards of a lot of the movies that came out. We went through the list in the past of the multitude of movies that have done, quite successful. So Paramount Skydance appears determined to purchase Warner Brothers Discovery, and a new report reveals that the Trump administration is backing billionaire and Donald Trump ally Larry Ellison's acquisition. Now, Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav has begun a bidding process to sell the company in a deal that could cost as much as $80 billion. The controversial executive has already turned down 3 bids from Paramount Skydance's David Ellison, but they remain the most likely buyer. Ellison's father, Larry Ellison, is the co founder of Oracle and is worth $350 billion. So money isn't an issue. Crucially, he also is a close friend to President Donald Trump, and the Trump administration is backing the billionaire's takeover bid. Now, this is the New York Post talking. They said other potential Warner Brothers Discovery suitors are likely to face stiff hurdles from U.S. regulators, and a senior government official tells the site that who owns Warner Brothers Discovery is very important to the administration. They added, the Warner board needs to think very seriously, not just on the price competition, but each player in the suitor pool has been successful getting a deal done, and that points to the Ellisons. Well, and the funny thing is, the Ellison's making, having so much money. And I hear that David Ellison loves movies and that's great. People love working with him in regards of, his Skydance studio. And don't get me wrong, Skydance has given us a lot of great films. Skydance has produced like Mission Impossible and things like that. So I don't mind some of the product that has come out of that out of that studio. However, I'm just signing it over because of who they link themselves to. And anybody connected to Trump, we already know what is about to transpire from that. So that's the overall concern. They said the Trump administration's support is problematic for other potential buyers. Comcast, for example, includes the anti-MAGA coverage of the cable giant's far-left network MSNBC, which owns NBC, the network that airs Saturday Night Live, a show that ridicules Trump every week. Netflix and Amazon raise significant antitrust concerns, given how much they've already dominate the media landscape, while Disney doesn't appear to be in the mix at all. Well, I don't know if you we need to worry about Amazon because quiet as it's kept, the word on the street is Amazon contributed some donations to that East Wing getting repaired. Where I don't even understand why he even destroyed that side. The word on the street is that they building a deeper bunker underneath in case we go through a whole nuclear war situation. They could hide his fat ass down there and all them other morons that he working with while the world turns to ash. We'll be able to survive because we've survived worse things. And one of the things about us people who aren't as wealthy, we find ways to be resilient and make it through the situations. You rich people wouldn't know. You wouldn't even know how to wipe your ass if we gave you the damn tissue to do it with. So you need somebody to do the things for y'all. That's the thing. That's the difference between rich folks and or clueless rich people, I should say, who don't know how to do anything. You wouldn't be able to, like, if there was a nuclear war tomorrow, y'all would not know how to cook. You would not know how to clean stuff. You wouldn't know how to survive on your own because you've had people do it for you your entire life. So now the report adds, insiders said Zaslav in particular will be forced to consider regulatory hurdles that not only include antitrust concerns, but the Trump administration's willingness to crack down on what it seems is rampant left-wing bias across the mainstream media, which basically is, I don't want anybody saying anything remotely negative about me. So now I want to buy up the companies that are very much against what his sensitive ass, which I got to say about him. So that the person who controls the studio controls the media. And so we get to put out whatever narrative that we want to put out so we can continue to rob the country and do all the things that we ain't supposed to be doing, commit all these federal crimes, which, child, I've had longer receipts from grocery shopping than the amount of federal crimes that they've done in the past 8 months. Because all this other stuff that when y'all, child, let me tell you something. When they flip this damn country to the other side, and if you Democrats don't sit and impeach these motherfuckers for what they doing, they will be held to pay for y'all. Because I don't understand how we ain't doing this Obama mess where it's like, well, we don't look to the past, we look to the future. No, because are they doing the same thing for y'all? They trying everything under the sun to destroy this country and go against y'all. And now y'all want to play patty cake with the other side. No, we need to get as petty as they do, if not pettier. And now they talking about Gavin Newsom is trying to run for president, which I don't know how I feel about that. Because some of his policies, I'm just like, you giving me you are giving me centrist Democrat teas, trying to describe it as being more progressive. So I don't trust that. Although he would be a good one to go up against Trump. Kamala Harris, somebody she want to run again. I'm like, ma'am. Sometimes we got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, and the rest of the Kenny Rogers song. No, ma'am, we don't want it because we ain't want you the first term. And if people get mad over, oh well, SMD from the back, I don't care. But no, we don't want her. I would love to have a woman president. I don't want her as the president. It ain't got shit to do with her being a woman of color because she only decides to choose what color she is when it's convenient. Kind of like Stephen A. Smith and Candace Owens, because she do give me that in a lot of those situations. And plus, on the way she's done black people in the criminal justice system, I still can't get behind nobody that all her past track records and things, and not denouncing uh Palestine, what's happening with them and the genocide of Palestine is what I meant to say. So now to get into the rest of the story, they said there's definitely cause of concern for Skydance potential acquisition of Warner Brothers Discovery, and Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts raised one of those on Twitter while discussing a potential merger, saying if Paramount Skydance buys up Warner Brothers, many of the shows you watch will be owned by the same company and they can jack your prices up, which is already happening. Because didn't they just reveal that, if I'm not a chat, let me tell you something, I can't even keep track no more because I think didn't they just announce that they're jacking up the price for HBO Max? Like, I'm already told you with the bundle, I'm already paying $32. So I don't know. I'm going to have to check my bill next month to see if it went up again. I'm like, well, goddamn. Can they at least get my wallet like a little? Can they at least? Do I need to get out the asthma pump for my wallet so that way it can breathe a little bit? Because you just like trying to suck all the air out of my situation. Squeeze any more money out of me, I may have to start doing illegal things to watch my shows. And I'm not talking about robbing people, whatever. I'm talking about that I'm gonna have to just start using those VPN situations. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And so she said, we can't let that happen. We have antitrust laws for a reason, and it's on Donald Trump to enforce. Well, you know he's not. That man is a walking white collar crime on two legs. Well, I did say walking white collar crime, same shit. So you think this man is actually going to follow the law? All he does is pull white collar crimes. You know, enough white collar crimes that'll have him put under the jail for the rest of his days, which I don't even think is long because that the man's health is a mess. So Paramount is, they said, a studio that doesn't have many successful film franchises, which is true. Because if you really think about this, they don't really have that much going on over there on that station. So on that front, an acquisition of Warner Brothers Discovery would be hugely beneficial for them. What it means for DC Studios is a mystery, though we'd expect it to be a business as usual for James Gunn and Peter Safran, at least to begin with. Yeah, because they were some of that. If Paramount Skydance gets their hands on the DCU, they may change up the part with Hawk Girl and what she did to that corrupt president in Superman. If you know, you know, they said they might actually try to change it up to make it seem like, oh, that he comes out as the hero. If you, because you know they were trying to sit and say in that movie that it wasn't an Israel Palestine type of, and it was like, who was it then? Because that's the vibe we all got when we was watching the movie. But I hate when James Gunn has this habit of trying to tell us what we seen on the screen and exactly what we see. And I'm like, sir, we got eyes. What you're not going to do is piss on my leg and tell me it's raining, because he do a lot of that talking out of both sides of his mouth when it comes to, you know, stuff going on with the DCU, and leaves us even more damn confused. You can't fool me, sir. So, as I said, in the end of the day, I feel like it's all politically motivated. I don't agree with the monopolization of film and media. And I feel like at the end of the day, that's the clear motivation. Now, Skydance owning Paramount, they, you know, like I said, they already control CBS or whatever narrative they want to put out there in regards of legacy corporate media. With the Ellison's helping on getting a demonic hooves on Warner Brothers Discovery, they will not only have access to the movie catalog, and to be clear, I have been loving the diverse band of films that the WB have been dropping this year. As you know, for example, Sinners, Minecraft, which they just announced Minecraft is getting a sequel, but we already knew that was coming. The amount of money that movie made, of course, it's getting a sequel. Superman, F1, Weapons, which my mother told me the other day. She was like, "Oh, I saw this movie called Weapons and I loved it." I'm like, "Ma'am, I saw that in the movies." But yeah, so she loved that movie. And, you know, Aunt Gladys, that lady was a hoot. I still don't agree with them giving her a prequel, but y'all going to do it? I don't have control over that. It is what it is. I'll just watch the movie and hope and pray it doesn't suck. And so, you know, they'll just have control over another liberal news market, which CNN is a part of Warner Brothers Discovery. And if David Ellison, you know, gets his wish to purchase Warner Brothers Discovery, does that mean, because there's another concern, does that mean he'll get all DEI crazy? Because, you know, they like to use DEI in the wrong connotation, and we won't get to see more diverse films like Companion or Sinners or you know, things like that. Because that was the one thing I loved about Warner Brothers, is that Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdy took a chance on giving us a diverse group of, you know, diverse type of movies. Even Final Destination Bloodlines, that was a diverse film. They had Filipinos as the lead. When have we seen that? Well, they were half Filipino, but nevertheless, they still got Asian up in them. So so we got to see, you know, we got to see a diverse group of characters. Companion, even though that movie didn't do all that well, we had a queer couple in the film. Shout out to what's that boy named Lucas Gage, which I forgot he did a queer slasher film a couple of years ago. It's on Hulu with Scott Evans. I don't know. That popped up in my radar the other. I was like, oh, I totally forgot about this movie. I saw it once, like years ago when it came out. I think it came out in like 2016. But anyway, so yeah, I don't. It just gives sinister vibes, and I'm not here for it. So I'm really hoping that this deal doesn't go through. I don't like the idea of one person owning a multitude of studios, because what that means is y'all trying to just control every aspect of the media, because y'all have a certain, now don't y'all have enough channels, like between all these nutbags that y'all have on YouTube with their little, you know, their conservative media conglomerates. You got Newsmax, you got Fox News, you have all these other channels. Y'all even got the tired ass New York Post. But I'm sick of y'all with y'all bullshit ass narratives regarding Zoran Mamdani. Y'all y'all really pissing me off with y'all corny ass articles. And I ain't waste no time going over there on the New York Post Facebook page and going in and letting have in the comments. But I'm just, y'all have enough conglomerate. Stop trying to buy up every aspect and have, because the one thing I love about America is that we are a democracy. We should have different points of view. If you want to go over there and you have a certain narrative about certain things, go over there and see whatever conglomerate y'all want to go to and get y'all information. Me, I like to go on both sides because I want to know what the other side is saying about us, and I want to know what my people are saying, and meet somewhere in the middle and make sense of it all, which is what critical thinkers, most of us who use our brain instead of it just being in our head for shits and giggles, because that's what I could have sworn that us having a brain was for, is that use it to think. Use it to actually, and then have objective thoughts when things don't sound right. But nobody wants to question it. Well, I won't say nobody. Most people don't want to question things. Most people don't want to have actual critical things. They want to be told how to think. They want to be told how to feel. They want people to agree with them or nonstop. I don't like that. I like being challenged on things. I like learning things. I like always, you know, being pushed out of well, I wouldn't say I like being pushed out of my comfort zone, but if it comes down to me having to be pushed out of my comfort zone, I'm not gonna continue to push back from it. There may be times I could be a little stubborn and push a little bit, but at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, let's just see where this is going, and I'll just go down that alley, that dark alley, without a flashlight. So, um, I'll say all this to say, listen, I can go on this tangent forever. What do you guys think of this story in regards of Skydance basically trying to get their hands on another studio? And the fact that they've tried 3 times already to give a bid, and Warner Brothers so far has said no. I mean, it won't go into effect until next year, and I think with the antitrust laws, it can be um they could go against and be like, okay, we're gonna tie y'all up in court. It may take years for them to get out of that. But why even try to consider why would you want to even do hood rat criminal things when you're trying to buy more than one studio? If you decided to stick with Paramount and stop trying to buy up everything. Because one of the things I've always loved about movie studios is that Warner Brothers, what they do is different from what Sony does. And what Sony does is different than what Disney does. And now Disney is a part of 20th century. No, 20th century is at Disney. So whatever they do over there is different than Paramount and so on and so forth. So we like that different studios handle different situations. All studios should not be a mono. We not everybody should be a monolith and just only producing the same type of stuff. So I hope this doesn't go through. I'm still hoping and praying and pushing that it doesn't go through. And maybe this is all a bunch of white noise at the end of the day to get us all talking. But and it's working. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below.